Sundance Film Festival is going on right now, and a pretty interesting issue has come up as a result. So down at the film festival, a part of the drama jury is Academy Award winning actress Marlee Martin, who was, of course, Matlin. And she was, of course, in Coda. She won her Academy Award, I believe it was for Children of a Lesser God, that she did with the late, great John Hurt. She's fantastic. So she's part of the drama jury. Well, while at Sundance, the new movie, what's it called? Something Magazine? No.
It's Magazine Dreams.
Magazine Dreams. Okay.
With Jonathan Majors.
With Jonathan Majors.
As a fighter.
Who, a bodybuilder, I believe.
Bodybuilder.
As a bodybuilder in that movie. Here's the problem. They didn't provide closed captions. Now that's a little bit of an oversimplification. They did provide a device for Marlee to have closed captions because she's, of course, a deaf actress. But the device wasn't working. So the drama jury, got up and walked out of the film. Now, the headlines all read, jury walks out of movie. The reality was there was no point in them staying. They've already made arrangements to have another viewing of it. But it brought up an issue that has caught some momentum in the past 24 hours or so, to the point now that there are a bunch of people, and we can bring this up, Jonathan, who are even like writing op-eds right now in some of the bigger trades asking, hey, should all movie theaters just have open captions on the movies? Like, not only should they have these little devices that, granted, are not the most convenient because you got to look down to the screen on the device and then up at the big screen, all that kind of stuff. But there are some op-ed pieces being written right now saying, hey, you know what? All movies should just have closed captions playing all the time. And it's interesting because I was having a conversation with somebody I know earlier about how, depending on the show, there are some shows I watch with the subtitles on. Mostly that's because I find they don't have the best audio mix. And sometimes I find their dialogue is a little bit muddy to pick up. So sometimes I'll just to be safe, I'll put up the closed captions. Actually, I did last night for The Last of Us. I put the closed captions up because there's so much going on in the audio design that I just want to make sure I don't miss any even little detail. So sometimes I'll have it on, sometimes I won't. And my buddy was saying, I'm finding more people do that. Maybe they just put on movies. But here's the problem. You and I and all of us know a lot of people that won't even watch any foreign films because they have subtitles on them. Like, not only do they not want to read, they don't want that on the screen, distracting them. And I know there have been times that I've had a show that I was going to put closed captions on just because of the audio mix. But Anne's like, can you turn those off? I just find it distracting. I'm like, all right, no problem. Boom, turn it off. The issue of accessibility to the movies we love for everybody, that everybody should have access to the movies and stories that we love to celebrate. We have special places in the movie theaters where people with physical disabilities can sit. We make sure we have ramps. We make sure we have escalators. We make sure we have all that kind of stuff. What about accessibility to the movies for those who have difficulty hearing or hearing impaired? But I'm going to throw this out. Now, I don't know if this will be considered a hot take or not. I think the answer lies in technology, where maybe something in the form of hey, all these people are doing VR. Can we get a set of glasses that will literally just put up closed captions at the bottom for people to read? I mean, or something along those lines. Is there a way to set up a certain viewing spot where, hey, if you're hearing impaired, you can sit in this spot and there will be a secondary screen in front of the other screen that will project this on it? I just can't help but wonder if the answer to the issue of accessibility for our fellow film fans who are hearing impaired is, let's inconvenience a chunk of the rest of the audience who don't want to see that on screen. We've come up with some really creative things, like the idea of people who might have physical limitations may not be able to get a flight of stairs. Okay, the answer wasn't to make everything one story. The answer was, let's come up with escalators and things that benefit everybody. So I understand where these editorials are coming from, but I think the answer lies in what has been the answer to a lot of this stuff is technology. I think we just need to advance the right technology to make sure this stuff becomes more accessible to our fellow film-loving brothers and sisters. Anyway, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the very top of their fields. Each class is broken out into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes long. And MasterClass is completely accessible on your phone, the web, smart TV, and available via audio mode to listen to classes on the go. They have over 2,500 video lessons from over 180 of today's most brilliant minds. They're all available anytime, anywhere on iOS, Android, desktop, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Now, obviously around here on the John Campea Show, we love our movies, so why not learn filmmaking from Jodie Foster, or maybe directing from Ron Howard himself, or the great Neil Gaiman doing his masterclass on the art of storytelling. And you guys have heard me talk about my favorite masterclass, Business Strategy and Leadership by Big Papa Iger himself, Bob Iger, the new and returning CEO of Disney. Guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. This holiday, give the perfect gift of an annual masterclass membership and get one free. Go to masterclass.com/Campea today. That's masterclass.com/Campea. Terms apply. Chris, it's more of I'm probably way oversimplifying it. I mean, it's probably a much deeper issue than that, but what do you think about this?
Well, the first thing I want to say is just because I saw this in the chat, a few people said, wow, the jury really overreacted here. No, they didn't.
No, one of the jurors couldn't understand the dialogue, so they had to walk out.
So you can't have any kind of conclusion on the merit of that film if you can't watch it and properly judge it. So,
yeah, it's important to point out they did not walk out in protest.
Yeah.
It was like, there's no point in us being here because one of the only 33% of the jury, one of 3 members of the jury is not going to be able to take in the movie.
Exactly.
So walk out, arrange for another screening another time.
Exactly. It wasn't them getting up in a huff. It was, well, not our time to watch this, I suppose. Let's try to make this work later.
There's plenty of movies they probably went and saw anyway.
Exactly.
The things they
Yeah,
had to
there's
watch,
lots they need to see.
So I just want to address that first. Second of all, the device most people use is the Captive View, right? And that sits in your cup holder, and it's a screen that you watch and kind of go back and forth from when you're using subtitles in a general movie screening.
Right.
That in itself is a very clunky device. It can be really loud and squeaky. It can make people feel really, really self-conscious as well because people then turn over and see you messing with something. And, you know, I'd hate for somebody to feel like they get the same kind of treatment as somebody who's pulling up a phone, for example, right? This is something that people need to enjoy the movie the same way. When it comes to anime films, there's usually 2 options for you. You can go watch a dub, or you can watch a different screening where they have subtitles. I don't understand why we don't offer that as a bigger option for people of having another screening.
Right,
Maybe
a closed caption screening.
Yeah, exactly. Because some theaters have done that in the past. A couple in Houston would do this. The wonderful editorial you sent us, John, by Allison, oh gosh, what's her name? Oh, Daniel, has a great point in here that 1 in 4 people has a disability of some kind. So this kind of accessibility is something that is definitely needed. If 25% of your movie-going audience needs something, why not cater to that 25% with a number of screenings that they can go see with subtitles? I'm somebody who at home, I always watch with subtitles. I got into that habit from when I was, doing clips and editing for other movie news channels. And also my husband doesn't have great hearing because he played too much pop punk music when he was a kid and was in too many bands. So we have to have those on for our own sake. I think it's a really easy fix here to just include a couple screenings that have those captions on them.
Here's where it becomes a little problematic. See, that might be the right answer, but it will have a couple of hurdles in that
it takes screens.
It takes up screens. Like, okay, we could play a closed caption version of Glass Onion, but we have to ask 2 questions. Question number 1 is, how many people are actually going to buy tickets to the closed caption one versus, hey, if we put Avatar, The Way of the Water in that screening instead, will we get more people into that than if? So it's still a little bit of an issue. Rob, how do you see this working out?
Well, I think
because it does have to be addressed.
No, I think it has to be addressed, but there's another whole population that might enjoy this, and that's people that are older.
Yeah, that's
there's
true
a lot
too.
of people that are older that are watching. They watch their shows with captions on, especially I know a lot of parents of friends of mine or even grandparents that always put on closed captions simply because they can't hear as well as they used to. That's I would say that's probably larger than people are considering. And I think, having a closed caption screening, maybe if there's only one, like maybe an 11 a.m. show an earlier show for people, you know, where they have a special screening. It's going to be closed caption on this particular, and maybe they do it a couple times a week. Because, you know, the old Vulcan adage, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, is something that we have to organize society around, because there are costs involved and materials involved. But I think having closed captioning screenings might be more popular than people might think. But there's not going to be like one every day or every show. But if people knew that, okay, at this theater at 11 o'clock on Saturdays and 11 o'clock on Sundays, or make it a noon show or whatever, that they had closed captioning screenings, people would plan to go to those. And the people that would want to see those closed captioning screenings would pay attention. So I think you'd get people that are hearing impaired, and also people that are older that don't hear so well, that would rather go to the movies, but don't, because they can watch something closed captioned at home. They might go back to the theater. It might actually bolster business at certain times of the day. Or maybe you could find people, because elderly people are also out, they're retired. So maybe during the week, it's a way to get people to come to the theater that wouldn't normally come. Maybe it could actually increase box office.
Then you get into problems of how come the only closed caption screenings are when I'm at work or whatever.
Well, but
that's why I like the idea of the glasses idea, because go back to the escalator example, right?
Right.
The neat thing about the escalator is that it doesn't just benefit the people who can't get up and down stairs like other people can. Everybody can use it. Everybody can use it and enjoy, right? And I think if they were to develop technology, we would walk in and say, would you require closed caption glasses? Because then it's not only people who might be hearing impaired, it could be other people like you say, you know what, I just like having the closed captions on, and they can participate in it too, but that's expensive too.
You could do it like the opera. You could do super titles. Whenever there's a non-English language opera, usually there's super titles in a lot of theaters now, where it's a projection up top, or almost like a ticket ticker of just what they're actually saying in English. So if you're not well versed in German, you're okay.
So Josh Groban starts singing "Porti Vora." You can put on like the subtitles.
I have to say, I started going to the Seattle Film Festival when I was 12, and there was a lot of foreign films. And even I, who's seen so many foreign films in my life, it's still distracting to have subtitles, because you can't. I mean, cinema is a visual medium. And it's always, even to this day, I own so many movies. I still hate having to read subtitles, because you can't concentrate on the visual elements of it.
Some people feel that way.
But I do. I mean, I can't stand movies that are dubbed. I will always watch whether it's anime or whether it's a foreign film, always dubbed.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think a possible answer to this is? Because I think we would all agree it is an issue that needs to be addressed. Something should be done about this to make the films that we love and enjoy more accessible to our fellow film fans who may not be able to hear as well. Whatever you guys think the answer is, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.